If you are one of those people who don't like one-page layouts because you want to get as many photos on your scrapbook pages as possible, then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Katie Taylor at scrappinkaty.com, where I show you how to preserve your family's memories through the art of scrapbooking. In today's video, I am going to be using the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 from Close to My Heart. Now, what I love about this volume is you get layouts, 1-page, 2-page, and as well as cards, standards, and slimlines. I'm going to be using this one that calls for kind of a grid pattern, and I've pulled out some photos of our daughter last year at Halloween. Now, there are several photos that are similar, and then there are these 3 that are just kind of one-offs, if you will. So I'm going to be using this grid pattern with the Storybook collection. Now, Storybook collection is not Halloween themed at all. I just love the colors and how well they would go with her black and white outfit. So I am going to pull out some patterns and then clear off my desk, and then we can get started. I decided to use one of the acetate sheets that was actually meant for a special several years ago, where you had the stamp set that once you pulled it through these lines of this acetate, it actually created a movement or a motion in the sentiment. So I'm going to use that as my base. I am going to gut this piece. There's really no need for me to have that center piece. And then I've taken a piece of white daisy cardstock, and that is what my layout will be built on. Now, I am adding some tear tape around the edges and then just burnishing that with my bone folder. I do find that tear tape or a really strong adhesive, kind of like the red line or the score tape, works a whole lot better on acetate than just your regular tape adhesive, and definitely better than liquid adhesive, unless you have Close to My Heart's liquid glass, and that also works. So I have this acetate lined up on my Versamat, hoping that it will allow me to line up this piece of white daisy cardstock as well as the grids a little bit better. One thing I kind of had some trouble with that you'll see here in just a second is those lines of this acetate were really messing with the lines of the Versamat. But as you know, the thing about grids is you either have to make them really straight, or like I've shown y'all before, you make them intentionally crooked. Now, I am using the new I Want Candy stamp set. There are 2 stamp sets. One is geared toward Halloween. That's what this one is. Or there is one that is geared toward just candy, all things sweet. I've already made several projects with that. Now, I am taking a mist piece of cardstock as well as mist ink, and then that cute little bat from this Irresistible stamp set. And I am just going to random stamp that bat onto this 3x3 piece of mist cardstock. Now, what I love about the how-to books is it tells you what size to cut all these pieces. So I've already done that off camera. I am just basically stamping some of the embellishment parts. Now, this Trick or Treat bag, I've stamped it on white daisy as well as a piece of Seabrook. And then I've got that little sucker, and then I have some title options. Now, for this lined piece from the Storybook collection, there are some black dots, and I've pulled out my Design Element stamp set, and I'm just going to create more dots on some of those lines that don't have some with some black ink. Now, I've also used the Spiderweb thin cut to cut a piece of black cardstock, and here is where I'm going to paper piece. Now, this is that Seabrook cardstock. The thing about paper piecing is you want to cut inside the line. So this isn't like I usually do my fussy cutting where I leave a border around. So I'm going to adhere that down, and then I am actually going to fussy cut out the center of that handle. The easiest way to do this, I've shown this here before, is to take a hole punch a hole in there, and then that allows you to get your micro tip scissors into that tiny little space, and it allows you to cut those out. So I'm going to do that right quick, and then we can bring out the layout and start the grid. Now, here's where you'll kind of notice that it's really hard for me to see that grid pattern on the Versamat. I probably should have pulled out my glass board, and maybe it would have been just a little bit better, but I persevere and get these all lined up. Now there's supposed to be about 1/4 of an inch in between them all, and I am alternating the pieces of pattern paper and cardstock and my photos. And you can see there that I'm also allowing my photos to kind of draw your eyes to the center of the layout. Now I did do just a little bit of rearranging on that Seabrook cardstock. I wanted that on the right so the majority of that black spider web would show, because I am going to put the focal point or the star of the photos in kind of that little bottom 4 grid pattern. So I'm just going to trim off that little piece of that web that is hanging off, and then we can get started on the flip flap. Now I am going to use 4x4 flip flaps. If you're unfamiliar with what flip flaps allow you to do, it allows you to not only protect your photos, so your photos are behind a memory protector, but it also allows some interaction on your layout. So here I'm using 3 photos. You definitely could also take this opportunity to do some hidden journaling or something like that. I also like to adhere my photos together so they don't move around as much. You just want to make sure that you are flipping that open and you can see the photo the right way, I guess, once you adhere it. So I'm going to just kind of peel back a corner of this, kind of make sure that it's all centered, and then I'm going to adhere it down onto those little 4 grid at the bottom. Now I am going to center this. That other photo is going to be matted on some white and black cardstock, kind of a double mat, if you will. But as long as I have this flip flap and the photos in it centered, then it'll be really easy to come back with that matted photo and center it as well. So I'm just using that flip flap as a guide just to make sure that they're lined up, which they are, and I'm going to turn this over and really make sure that that is adhered down. And then I am going to work on my little title. Now I stamped 2 titles. I am going to go with the 31st because I mean we all know that it is Halloween, but I wanted to kind of just add a backdrop to that. So I've pulled out my Seabrook ink, and remember that this cardstock is Seabrook as well. I'm really wanting more of that color, but I don't really want to mess up any of the other pieces. So I'm going to pull out some of my removable labeling tape, and that's going to allow me to just really go wild with that ink. I'm liking how that goes, and that labeling tape moves off very easily, or is removed easily from my photo as well as my pattern paper. I'm going to take off that backing from the 3D foam tape and get that adhered. And now I'm going to color these cute little ghosts. Now my favorite method of coloring these is using the ice gray blend, tri-blend marker, and I'm only using the light. Now that's just going to create a shadow and also kind of make your eye think that these are white ghosts. I am going to bring in my colorless blender and then just kind of blend out that harsh line, and that's also going to kind of bring out that ice gray blend more to the center of the ghost, again just giving the illusion that that ghost is pure white, even though we've added that kind of ice gray blue color to it. So I'm also pulling out the I Want Candy Puffy stickers. I love when I can mix multiple collections together. I mean, I purchased them after all. They're in my stash, so why not use them together? And these I Want Candy go perfectly with this storybook collection. These little ghosts I am going to move off to the left of that flip flap, and I love that you can actually adhere things to the flip flap. Even though it's got that glossy feel, you can adhere things to those, and it also makes it just kind of dimensional and a little bit more interactive. So I thought that my grid was just kind of getting lost on this White Daisy cardstock. So I've pulled out a black journaling pen. I'm going to freehand the outside frame. And then I do end up bringing in my T-ruler to do the lines on the inside, just to kind of make them straight. There was a lot of dimension already on the layout, and I was afraid that my hand was going to kind of hit those dimensional elements and kind of mess up the line. So I'm really liking how that finishes it off. And then I'm going to pull out the sticker sheet from the storybook collection. Now, the storybook collection is predominantly kings, queens, fairy tales, as the name kind of alludes to, but there are some stickers that I think are perfect for this layout. So we've got the heart sticker, and then these little bitty tiny hearts, and then of course that little kind of flag pennant thing that says Drama Queen. She absolutely loved playing the part of Wednesday Addams because she was actually able to be a drama queen, give me all the looks without getting in trouble per se. So I'm going to add just a couple of more hearts and stars here and there. And then for the most part, these stickers are done. There is one more thing that I'm going to add, and this is the little pennant up at the top right of this outside photo. It was just a little bit blank for me, so I added a pennant and then this little sentiment. And then I am going to take my journaling pen and add the year under the 31st. Again, we know that it's Halloween, but I just wanted to add 2022 down there. And then I will probably add my journaling up there by that mulberry heart paper. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of doodling around some of those embellishment clusters, and then add some shimmer brush. This is the clear shimmer brush, just to kind of add some more dimension to the ghost, as well as that adorable little lollipop right by that trick-or-treat bag. I do kind of mess up on the ghost, so I'm going to pick up some of that with a paper towel and my paper piercer just to make sure that it doesn't bleed. And that is pretty much the layout. I'm loving the shimmer brush. I'm loving the look of the acetate base. Here are some close-ups of those. Now remember, I will leave links down below to the storybook as well as the I Want Candy special that you can pick up now and have it ready to document your Halloween photos next week or whenever you get the order in. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and sign up for notifications so you won't miss another crafty video. Thanks and have a wonderful weekend.